Welcome. It is Thursday, September 17th, and I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks when we wrapped up our third summer of live 2 weeks ago with Beth Santos, and now we're back with the season 3 premiere of Teal Talk. How did that even happen? Time flies and crawls. Also, what is time? It's still 2020. I don't really know. I'm Jenny Guy. I'm the director of marketing for Mediavine. I still don't like my hair, but I am still your host for another awesome season of Teal Talk, jam-packed with essential content for all of us who make our money on the interwebs. We've got some pretty incredible industry expert guests lined up for the remainder of 2020 because we're sending this year out with a bang, not a whimper. We're going all in, but we're going to talk more about that later. For now, big welcome to everybody that is just joining in. We really, I can't say enough reallys, appreciate you watching week after week and commenting and sharing and giving us recommendations for guests and just being together and keeping us sane during this special time. So thank you. Big hearts to you. If you've been around the series for a while, and I hope most of you are, if you are here and you've been watching, drop a comment. Tell us again where you're watching from and if you've watched before. But if you are a regular watcher, you know that kicking off this new season with my guest here was really the only way we could go. He is Mediavine CEO. He is a co-founder of the company. He is our original ad tech is his brainchild. He also has 2 real children. He's a Florida man, and he loves his Shih Tzus more than most. Hi, Eric Hochberger with great hair. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good. I told you that there's nature outside me today. I'm at a lake, so I'm looking at the lake. It's very placid, and I'm communing with nature right now. Let's start out. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's go for it. Many people are here, and frankly, they're a little freaked out. You made a post in the Facebook group yesterday, the Mediavine Facebook group, a couple days ago, about the end of third-party cookies with a very scary statistic. And it's cookie murder or cookie apocalypse or whatever we want to call it, could actually result in a loss of 64% of the existing programmatic ad revenue. That is scary AF. So let's get into this. Let's talk about it. What are third-party cookies, and why does them going away could mean such a huge reduction in our ad dollars?
Yeah, so I realized about 2 days ago when I made the announcement that we haven't been loud enough about this. In January, Google made a big announcement that they were going to kill the third-party cookie. So what the heck is a third-party cookie? What is a cookie, and what does it have to do with ads? So a cookie is, a lot of you guys probably know about them from GDPR, but that's the way that you can store information about a user in a browser. They're extremely important. Otherwise, when you go to a website, they have no idea who you are. But a cookie is how you're able to log into websites. It's how you're able to put things into your shopping cart, basically do anything. Everything is dependent upon either a cookie or what's known as local storage or other ways of storing things in the browser. Those are normally referred to just as cookies or local storage. You're probably wondering what the heck third party means. So a first party cookie is when you drop a cookie and you're storing things about a user on your site. So that's the original intention of a cookie. You're only supposed to be able to drop cookies on your users. But of course, the way that developers work is we found a very clever workaround, and there was a way to use cookies on other people's pages. So if you were on, let's say, the Hollywood Gossip, and there happened to be a script to Facebook, maybe I had Facebook comments there, that would be what's known as a third-party cookie, so that Facebook can know who you are even when you're on the Hollywood Gossip. That's the magic of how it works. And so then, of course, advertisers were very clever and used things like that to be able to track people across different websites so that they could know who you are. Most of this was used in very innocuous ways of serving ads that were personalized to users. So third-party cookies quickly became the way in which personalized ads or programmatic ads work. They've become literally the crutch of the entire industry is use that in order to be able to serve ads to their users, which is why when Google released that study that Jenny said, they tested a small percentage of traffic. This is what happens when you turn off third-party cookies. Revenue went down up to 64%, which is obviously a substantial amount of money. If you're making a $1 CPM, imagine making a 40-cent CPM on an ad. That's going to make a big difference. So obviously people are a little terrified. So third-party cookies are extremely important, and Google is getting rid of them, they said, within 2 years. And that was in January when they made that announcement.
And cookies are one of the reasons why we have the scary ads that follow us. Like I Googled 4 days ago, the best meat for hamburgers, and I've had random meat being advertised to me for the last 4 days on every different platform, right?
Right. The way that advertisers learn that you apparently love meat is by you went to a website, you maybe put meat in your cart, you read an article, whatever it may be. Those advertisers that are tracking you as you go around the web decided to put you into an audience. That's what they call them. You were put into a meat eater audience. And now people are targeting you.
The meat audience?
You're in the meat audience. Congratulations.
Yes. Okay, so this is how we're able to do what we're able to do. This is advertisers pay this much money because you've already expressed an interest in these products, in their products. That's why they're paying for it, right?
Right. It would be very challenging to reach the meat eaters. I wish we chose a better example, but the meat eaters, if you didn't have that audience, maybe, or in particular, let's say the burgers that you were looking at, that's probably a very small segment of the population, people that are interested in those burgers. So they're allowed to spend more money so that they can more hyper target their audience. Otherwise, they would have to blanket spend everywhere, and they're not going to be willing to pay as much money.
Tara just said Nordstrom knows all my moves. Yeah, that's what we're talking about when they follow you, and because they know that you were still thinking about that pair of shoes, and they can keep coming back at you until you're finally like, fine, now I'm going to buy.
Small nuance difference. Nordstrom knows about you through what's called retargeting as opposed to an audience. So that's actually when they're targeting you as a person, not again you because they don't know who you are, but through an anonymous cookie, they're able to track you because you went to Nordstrom. They're able to send that off to a third party and say, hey, this person put this in their shopping cart. Maybe they used a company like Criteo or Nextral or one of the other kind of retargeting companies. They sent it off to there. And then when you go onto a Mediavine site, when we call an ad action out to Criteo or to Nextral, they say, hey, we know this person was shopping at Nordstrom. Let's show a Nordstrom ad.
All the people are saying that they're vegan and still getting meat ads. So their cookies are screwed up. But getting off, and I'm sorry that I went down the meat trail. It's what I thought of in the moment, and I'm horrified. Okay, so you said Google is phasing these out by 2022, correct? So when we go into January 2022, they will be gone. Why is Google doing this? Don't they make money from us on all these things?
It's a great question. Google makes almost all of their revenue through advertising. So you may be wondering why the company that makes its money off ads and makes a lot of money off ads would shut down the ability to do ads. And it's a little more of a nuanced question. So one of the reasons why is because first off, Google has not just an ad business, but a web browser business, Google Chrome. They have to sell us on running Google Chrome. What you may not realize is that Safari or Apple has had a war against third-party cookies for, 4 or 5 years now, maybe even longer. And they have this thing called ITP or Intelligent Tracking Protection. They just released a new version yesterday with the new version of iOS. They keep adding on to it. And their whole goal is to stop this kind of tracking. And then there's some companies like Firefox. There's companies like even Microsoft Edge, which I checked is still a browser. Some people still run it. And you have the ability there to block third-party cookies. So they're all pushing, hey, in this new privacy-centric world that everyone's freaking out about, what Facebook is tracking about us, what all these companies are tracking, come use our browser. It's safer than Google. So Google had to come out and say, we're going to protect the user too. This is what users want. If you can't tell from things like GDPR, CCPA, every other acronym that has to do with cookies, people care about privacy now. So Google had to do this or people were going to stop ultimately using Chrome. And what's the point of Chrome if nobody's using it?
Exactly. Privacy is everything. And obviously it's going to impact ads in the way that we're currently doing them, but there are some options here. So now that we're all good and terrified and talking about meat, I'm sorry. Yes, you're welcome, Jackie. Now you're all going to be served meat ads. You're welcome, vegans. Now that we're all completely horrified, and fair enough, guys, like we know that you're scared. Mediavine does ads. This is what we do. So it's going to impact us too. Like this is not something we're doing. It's being done to us as well. So what's going to happen to the programmatic ad industry? What are the options here to continue trying to make money and serve personalized ads?
So one thing that's interesting about our industry is that we have historically ignored this problem. This problem has actually been happening for, like I said, 5 years. So Safari phased this out 5 years ago and we did nothing as an industry. And we just kind of said, okay, instead, let's just target more users on Android and more users on Chrome desktop. That's fine. We'll just ignore 40, 50% of the US population, whatever they make up. And that's been fine because we're able to still reach the users we wanted. But now the industry is actually going to be forced for the first time ever to solve this problem. So I see this as a good thing in some ways. So what ways are they proposing of solving it? Google has a proposition, which is known as the privacy sandbox. You may see lots of weird names like turtle dove and things in the news. But Google is giving the ability to basically create those audiences we were talking about before, those meat lovers, car lovers, shoe lovers, whatever it may be. But the difference is that's going to now live in a privacy-focused world. It's going to live in your web browser. You'll be the one that owns your data. So at any time, you could go in and see, hey, they put me as a meat eater. I'm a vegan. Why did you do that? They could go into their browser and delete themselves or even clear all of it. So that's the idea of turtle dove. You're going to be more anonymized. You're going to be in pools or audiences, and you're going to be able to opt in or out. You're going to be able to basically be a little more anonymous as you're browsing the web. They will not be able to see that, hey, you put these pair of shoes in your shopping cart and you're going to get a retargeted ad, but they would be able to know that maybe you were a shoe shopper.
Okay, so Caroline has an interesting question. If these cookies are anonymous, how is privacy at risk? Who cares if we see ads that pertain to what we're shopping for? She thinks the world has gone nuts. I think, yes, Caroline, you're right, but I don't know if it's necessarily for this reason, particularly.
Because I think in innocuous ways, they are fine, third-party cookies. Like if you're using them in the anonymous ways I was describing, I think third-party cookies are actually great. And personalized ads are great. It's much better to see ads when they're correctly targeted. Okay, if you're a vegan and getting meat ads, that's not a good example. No. But you actually want the opposite of that, right? As a vegan, you don't want to see meat ads. And that's the whole idea of programmatic. Let's not show you ads that don't mean anything to you.
Advertisers don't want that. They don't want people who aren't going to buy their stuff to see it.
Right. Advertisers don't want it. Users don't want it. Nobody wants non-personalized ads. If you go back to 20 years ago and remember what ads were before personalized ads, if you go back to like when all of us ran AdSense on our sites and all the ads weren't even display banner ads yet, they were still text ads. They were all just targeted based on the content that you wrote about in your blog, contextual ads. It's all we had, which means you got a lot of irrelevant ads for your reader. Contextual does a better job than nothing, but it wasn't nearly as good as personalized ads. So when used correctly, they're good, but unfortunately they can be used in malicious ways and they can track users without their knowing it. And people are getting uncomfortable with that.
So you talked about the Dove situation that is a possible thing more anonymous. What is there another solution out there for the programmatic ad industry?
Yeah, so if I've learned one thing about our industry, it's that we don't like change. As I mentioned before, we've had this problem for 5 years and nobody did anything about it. And so that new way of buying, the turtle dove way or the privacy sandbox, may or may not take off, but that's asking advertisers to buy in a whole different way than they have in the past. Luckily, there's actually another solution. And that would be what's called first-party data that would allow advertisers to continue to operate the way they have today. And first-party data is when instead of a third-party cookie, so third-party means a third party is collecting this information, now the first party is you. The publisher collects this information. So they're browsing your website. In that transaction, you're the first party. Great examples of this are places like the New York Times. When you log in there, or when you go to read an article, they make you log in. A lot of them charge you, and a lot of them now do what's called a free wall, or literally let you log in, give your information, and consent now to getting personalized ads and content. And now we have first-party data. We know who you are, and that actually escapes the third-party cookie issue because you actually told me who you are. I don't need to go and track you anonymously. You gave me permission to track you. And that was a actual mutual exchange. In that chance, you actually told the user, hey, I'm going to be tracking you. They agreed to it. They gave you their email address. It's a lot less creepy, we think, to users by going with the first-party data route. And that would actually allow now Nordstrom to still run that advertisement against you because, well, on their website, they know who you are as well, right? You were logged into their account, or they're going to start making you log in when you go to add things to a shopping cart. So you're going to see a lot less of an anonymous web, but first-party data would bring back all the same targeting capabilities that advertisers love. Okay,
so the point we're at in the story now is that publishers, every independent website owner is going to have to, in order to serve high-paying programmatic advertising to their readers, is going to have to collect first-party data.
Yes. So if we want to continue to exist as we do today, we're going to want as many users as we can to log into our websites, to tell us who they are, so that advertisers can continue to advertise in the way they wanted. I'll give a great example of one of my favorite stories. I was analyzing our top advertisers by who was willing to pay the most. And this happened to be Boeing. Boeing apparently will pay just $1 gajillion if they think you're in the market for an airplane. Turns out those things are expensive, right? So in order to reach this small audience that can afford to buy a plane, I don't know, 100 people? Who knows the number of people that are in the market to buy a plane? They're willing to pay any amount of money. That won't exist if we get rid of first-party data and third-party cookies, if we don't have one of those two options. You can't do an anonymous segment of 100 people. That's not going to exist.
All those plane buyers out there will all get plane ads. So, okay. So how do we do that? Because it sounds like a fairly complex thing and a burden on everybody out there.
Yeah. So traditionally, a lot of companies like New York Times have invested just millions upon millions of dollars building their own systems to be able to get and incentivize users to log into their website. And again, you'll see this now happening more and more across the web. As you enter a website, they're going to be asking you, hey, you've read 5 articles. If you want to get another free one, you have to sign in. You're going to see that more and more commonly, but that is traditionally how first-party data is collected. You, as the publisher, have to build a system to collect that information.
But what if you don't want to do that?
So unfortunately, right, that's a lot of resources. Most publishers could maybe install a plugin in WordPress to do it, but even still, it's a much more complex than it sounds, because you're not just asking them to log in. You have to find a way to get them to log in and then safely get their personal information and pass it to the advertisers in a privacy safe way. We don't want to just be passing email addresses around. That is going to violate even more privacy, because who knows who's snooping around and finding that stuff. So it's a much more complex problem to solve than it even initially sounds.
And it also sounds like not the greatest user experience with something like the free wall, like you're talking about with New York Times. Like, even if it's free, I don't know. So what you're saying essentially is that every single website that we know and love would have to turn into this thing that we hate on New York Times. That
is the way things are unfortunately looking like they're trending at this moment. Everywhere you go, you enter these free walls. Again, right now, I know for me, when I read it in Google News, I click on an article. The second I see it, I'm hitting back right now. And I block sources that I know are requiring it. It's a terrible user experience. Nobody wants that. Trust me. I don't want it. I don't want to even ask a Mediavine publisher to do that.
And I'm also not paying 99 cents for New York Times recipes. And I don't care how many times you ask me to do it. I'm not going to do it. Sorry.
That's
okay.
True.
All right. Everyone's freaking out. What is Mediavine going to do about it?
So first, like everything else, we are clearly going to adopt anything that Google proposes with the privacy sandbox. We're all about that. We are going to try to do contextual ads. We will try everything we can to help make sure that you're making as much as you can and you don't feel the full brunt of that 64%. All that said, we want to make sure you can also still enjoy the current CPMs we're making, or maybe even higher. And that's why I want to help our publishers collect first-party data about their users and pass it in a privacy-centric way to the advertisers. And that's what Grow.me has been all about.
What is Grow.me?
Good segue, right? I probably should explain what Grow.me is.
Yes.
So Grow.me, if you may have missed our previous announcement of it, it's really a framework. I don't know how else to describe it other than a framework to get your users to provide enough value to them that they want to log into your website. And that means not necessarily doing a free wall. We hope it doesn't come to that. We will certainly implement one if we need to, in our publishers who want to go that aggressive. Our goal is let's find better ways to connect with readers and encourage them. Hey, if you log in, I will provide you more value. There's a lot of ways I think that publishers have done this in the past with things like membership sites. So think about all those kind of things you've done. Maybe you wanted to encourage people to download something on your site, sign up for a newsletter. I would show them more personalized content. I can give you customized list of recipes that more are catered towards what you want to read. So the idea behind Grow is let's build things together that will encourage your readers to want to log in and return to your site.
Sheila says, what are the legal ramifications of publishers starting to collect first-party data?
So that's one of the great things that we're trying to solve with Grow. So there's a lot of legal ramifications, of course, once you become a data collector, especially things like GDPR and CCPA. The good news is we're already solving those for ads. And so we're going to make sure, obviously, that we as Mediavine are going to follow those same things. And we're going to make sure that PII and that information is not leaked even to your site. It's going to live within Grow and live within a privacy-centric way of doing so. So we're going to make sure that you are, like, we're listening to the signals, right? If we don't get consent to collect information about that user, if we don't get consent even to pass it on to advertisers, we might collect it and then not pass it on. Well, we'll make sure that it's being collected in a privacy-safe way.
Okay, so Grow.me right now. Okay, well then what is Grow.me right now? How do I get it?
So, okay, first off, it is a beta right now and open to all Mediavine publishers. So you just log into your dashboard, and right now we made it so easy. Under settings, there's a grow.me area. You just turn it on. It'll run today. What you might be a little surprised to see right now, all it is a little button in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and that's going to give your readers a way, or bottom left. We can customize that for you based on some of the other things you might have floating around on your website. Unfortunately, people like to have a lot of things floating around on the website, including ads by Mediavine. So there may be things that we'll have to work around, but that button right now gives you the ability for your readers to favorite your content, share content. It allows them to log in, it allows them to search your website. That's all done right now through a little menu button in the bottom right-hand corner. And today, that is the main thing that Grow.me is, but it's going to be, again, like I said, a framework for us building a lot more in the future.
I think what we're trying to get some clarification on here, a few things. One, Grow.me is not a plugin. It's not a social plugin. That's not what we're doing. And we're going to work on ways to make it more customizable, and we'll talk about that in a second. We're going to work on more ways that we can get readers to opt in, but that's not the point of it. We're not choosing this as a product that we're making because we're like, yay, another, that's not it. We're doing this to try to solve for this issue that could decimate the programmatic advertising industry.
Right. So we're going to see the entire industry adopting some kind of solutions. And we're hoping with Grow.me is that we can have the least invasive version of that. Because again, we don't want to go this free wall route. We could tell every publisher, just like we have the CMP, we're going to slap up a free wall and ask everyone to log into your site. I think everyone would be miserable. We don't want to have to do that in a year and a half or 2 years when this thing ends up coming out. What we want to do instead is come up with ways to provide value. And I just keep calling it a framework, which is a very vague word. Same word we use to describe Trellis, which didn't mean to drop so early on in this meeting.
We'll talk about it later.
Live. We will. Again, the reason why we're calling it a framework is because it's going to more natively integrate with your site. It's going to make a lot more sense over the coming months to your readers and to you as publishers what Grow.me means. Grow.me is also super important to the concept is that it's one login across. We have now over, I think, 700 sites running it today. So all of those sites is one login. A user only has to log in once to one site. If they go to your site right now, currently in Chrome or third-party cookies, they're automatically logged in. But in the future, it'll be just one click. The same way you can use Google to authenticate across multiple sites, users will be able to easily click one button to log back in with Grow to any site that they've been to that's running Grow. Okay,
we have a lot of questions. Claudia says, sounds like we need tons more traffic. I get that, but how will that make up a deficit of 64%, especially since it's getting so competitive?
So you're right. Obviously, there's two ways to solve it. You could just get 60% more traffic to make up for it. Actually, I think you'd need more than that. I'm not very good at math right now on the spot, but to make up for a 60% drop, you need more than a 60% increase in traffic. And that would be very challenging to do. We're not going to ask you to suddenly have 150% more traffic in order to pay your bills. The idea of Grow is let's authenticate a certain percentage of your users. So if we could get 5 to 10% of your users to log in when they come to your site, and that's actually an ambitious number, those readers now you got to realize are going to be super valuable. And currently, you actually only have 30 third-party cookies on your Android and desktop users. You're already making less off Safari readers. So you're already at best right now making money off whatever it may be, 50 to 60% of your readers on if you're a site that's lucky and has a lot of Android and Chrome readers. So we don't have to authenticate the full 100%. These readers are going to be super valuable. Again, we just got to get those Boeing executives or those people who are buying airplanes to show up to your website. And that's the idea of this first-party data. These readers now are going to become more valuable than ever. There's a limited commodity of them. Supply and demand says that people will pay more money now for these readers. So we don't have to get you to a full 100% to recover a lot of that 64%. It might only be 10%. I mean, we don't know yet because it hasn't happened. But in a year and a half, we're going to be able to find out a lot more. What's the goal to be able to make up that money?
We're learning as we go, guys. We don't have all the answers right now. This is why why this is a beta. And Sarah said, how will our readers know they need to log in? They don't have to right now. They may not ever have to. There's a difference between a free wall and Grow. Will you explain that, Eric?
Right. So again, a free wall requires them to log into your site. That may become an option down the line for Grow.me. But for now, the goal is let's figure out other ways to encourage them. Again, as more people adopt Grow.me and as it starts to become more native into your site, it's going to make a lot more sense to the reader. I think we're going to add things, calls to action is the word we're using right now, but ways for you to tell your readers, hey, you should log into my site. You should follow me on Grow. It's really easy. Click this one button. We're going to be able to give you ways that you can encourage your readers. Right now, it's not super obvious at this moment, but that's why we're working with you, our publishers, to figure out the best ways to reach your readers.
So, okay, we have a bajillion questions. Guys, we're getting to you as quick as we can. And several of them are about Slickstream. So Carol Ann is saying, so it's like Slickstream. I remember you talked about this in the last episode. Do we cancel Slickstream once this go live? Amy Katz says, I've had that option for almost a year with Slickstream, but I don't find that most people want to log in. That's kind of a separate thing. Morgan Smith McBride says, is this the Slickstream thing? We got emails about it a while ago. Lynn, if we are already running Slickstream, will we be able to transfer all our saves over to Grow.me? I have Slickstream and just turned on Grow. Grow is showing on top of Slickstream. Should we get rid of Slickstream?
All right. So, I'll address, apparently it's not even the elephant in the room. It's the entire room, because this is what they're all asking about. So I'll talk about the Slickstream. Slickstream and Grow both are geared towards creating user engagement, is what it's called. The difference is Grow is geared towards first-party data or getting users to log in. So if you probably log into your Slickstream, I'm sure they'll show you how many people have logged in. And it's probably not a large percentage. That's not the goal of Slickstream. The goal of Slickstream is to try to encourage users to consume more content on your site. Grow is also about that, but Grow is more about how do we get them to log in. So I think that's where you're going to see the primary difference between the two products. We are geared towards getting you more first-party data. So if you haven't gotten a lot of logged in users with Slickstream, don't fret, don't worry. That's not the same approach that Grow is taking. There will be some similar feature set shared, and then there's going to be places where we diverge from each other. And you'll have to unfortunately choose, or we will try to create a world where you can run both. But for that, that's not today.
So Greg is saying, is the big benefit that for the reader is that they can save bookmarks and share content easier? I mean, that's one of them that we have now. We're building this benefit set now.
Right. So the benefits will come.
And we want you, the reason why is we want you guys to help us put together benefits that will help your readers log in. That's why we're having the beta. That's why we didn't unleash it with all of these benefits, because you know your readers better than we do. And we want your help putting this solution together. Okay, I'm going to go back because we had quite a few questions. Okay, Michelle said with Grow.me, it's more useful and impactful the more people use it, because if you're signed in at site X, it's also logged in when you go to site Y, kind of like when we had to deal with leaving comments via Discuss eons ago, because if you're found via search or social by someone who has regular readers, is Grow.me going to make a difference in that way?
Yeah, so Grow.me is actually, again, really good at identity, is what it's called in the advertising world. That's what most of the effort we have spent so far in Grow is building the under the hood, under the scenes things that you don't really necessarily care about as a publisher or reader. Well, you will care about as a publisher because it'll help you get more first party data, but that's the whole idea behind it. Let's make it super easy for readers to go across different Mediavine and soon non-Mediavine properties that are running Grow. Let's make it a great experience as you go between one site to the next. So yeah, the more people that run it, the better it is for all of us.
Okay, yes. Brenda says, with Grow.me, how do our readers know what to do? I've been testing it, but I wonder how many people actually know what they're even supposed to do with the little button. Greg asked a follow-up question that was similar, which is, are you counting on us, the publishers, to promote Grow.me to our audience, or will Mediavine be running a campaign to sell the benefits to all digital users? So let's start with how do readers know what to do? Let's go there first.
This exact second, they just have to infer it based on kind of the more obvious buttons. So we see a lot of people end up using the search and social just because they're used to seeing that. That is a common search icon, the little finder. Same thing with that share icon. Those are very common and those are actually used pretty actively. And then of course the heart is a common way of saying favorite something. And we're gonna be testing these things. One of the beauties of Grow, again, is how much we've invested in the foundation of Grow. It is built with the same A/B testing framework that we built for our ads. I don't know if everyone knows this, but every single feature we release for our ad tech is extensively tested on a very small percentage of traffic. That's going to be the idea behind Grow. We can test, okay, would it make more sense to show a heart or a star or some other icon here? Does it make sense to not even show the icons down there and instead introduce them to a menu? All these things are going to be tested, and we're going to find the best ways to engage your users.
Excellent. Yes. So all of those things are happening. And Greg, in terms of marketing campaigns, we're going to put together stuff to help you with this. We're going to talk and find out what benefits, what features are working best for what readers, what we need more of, what we need to be sending out. But yes, at some point, the publisher, you as the publisher, will need to more than likely encourage your readers to do this, encourage your readers to sign up. We have to find a way to make it so valuable for them that they want to.
Right. They're your readers, not ours. We can't, I mean, sure, we could run an ad campaign, but that's not going to be the most effective way. The people that they trust are you. You are the publisher that they're coming to.
Brenda, Brenda said, I wish there was something we could share with our readers to let them know how it works. Mediavine, can you write up something for us to share? When we have more features, I think we can put together, of course, blog posts, all that stuff. We will, but we just don't have enough features at this point. And it's also not a super big necessity at this moment in time. So right now we're in beta and we're building the feature set, but that's a great idea to put a pen into it. Okay. Are there any downsides to adding Grow.me to our sites right now? Carrie Fernandez wants to know.
Well, again, if you are currently running Slickstream, they're not going to play nicely together today. Again, this is something we'll address in the future. If you're not running Slickstream, there shouldn't really be any disadvantages. In all of our testing, it's only improved basically reader engagement or things like session duration, pages per session. This isn't going to hurt you. And obviously, since it's built by Mediavine, you know it's optimized for page speed. So it'll have as minimum impact as it can on your page load and as they're using your site. So we try to do the best to make sure that Grow doesn't harm and only helps your reader, the number of readers coming to your site and the number of readers that come back.
Susie Q asked an interesting question. Where can we see the analytics for the Grow.me button?
Okay, so currently we don't have a dashboard for Grow. So what we're expecting to do is use your Google Analytics at this moment. So we actually will fire an event when users click search, when they click favorite, when they view their bookmarks. Right now, all that is firing Google Analytics events for you. So you could go into your Google Analytics and go under events, and you'll be able to track how your users are using Grow today. And in the future, obviously, our plan is to release a dashboard with analytics for you.
Excellent. It's coming. You can use Google Analytics as a hack in the meantime. Okay, guys, who out there is using Grow.me? Do we have any beta testers in the audience? If you are out there, tell us what you think and let us know in the comments. We are, like I said, this is for feedback. We want to know what you like, what you want more of, what features you're interested in. Mikey said, would you consider adding a Slickstream-like search to Grow?
So we actually already have a search right now in Grow. So I don't know if you've seen that. That's a little search button at the bottom of all websites. Try enabling it, try out that search. If there's something that we're missing that Slickstream has that you like as a user, not necessarily as a publisher, but something you found that is very beneficial, we'd love to look into launching that as well.
Julia Jordan had an awesome idea. She said, I shared a photo of a page on my website with an arrow pointing down to the Grow.me and told them about it with my Facebook fans. They like it, and I do too. That's great. Super exciting. Okay, so who's Grow.me for right now?
So today it's in beta. It's exclusively for Mediavine publishers. And the plan is eventually for it to be for all publishers on the web to try to monetize through ads. So anyone who's looking to basically preserve the open and free web the way we know it today and not necessarily doing it through free walls are going to want to adopt a Grow.me solution. And we would love to be able to take it beyond just Mediavine and allow even companies that work with other ad companies to be able to do the same thing.
What does it cost? Because we've had questions for people saying, I pay $25 a month for Slickstream, which is the minimum. Then it's based on traffic. So it goes up and up and up from there.
Yeah, no, obviously nobody likes to pay for things, but things cost money. Grow.me costs Mediavine money. So as long as we can, we'd like to keep it ad supported, which is how it is today, right? Your ads are paying for Grow.me. So as long as we can, we'd like to keep it free. At some point, there may be some aspects that will be charged for, but the feature set today and a lot of the feature set that's coming will hopefully be ad supported for forever for you guys.
We love that. Okay. We've got a lot of comments here, and this is a very interesting one. Okay. Marie Porter says, so is this completely separate from the Grow by Mediavine or Grow Social Pro plugin?
The idea behind, so the reason why they share the same name is because they're both trying to accomplish the same goals for your site. When we were first building Grow and before we acquired Social Plug, Grow has always been about user engagement or marketing to your readers. And so that is why they share the same name. They also share a lot of the same features, and they complement each other very well. So Social Pro is going to allow you to build lots of buttons, a lot of advanced Pinterest features, including doing things like your social count. cool fact is that Grow.me will actually pull the share count from your Social Pro. And so Grow.me will actually show it in the bottom right in our little widget. It will show the number of people that have shared and add it to the number of people that have favorited your stuff. So very slick. It shows what is called social proof. It shows that your readers are loving this particular piece of content, which makes other readers more likely to either like it or share it. So they actually work very well together. I think over time, you're going to see a lot of the features in Social Pro or in Grow Social coming over to Grow.me. And we'd love to, at some point, kind of more converge the two, so it makes more sense why they have the same name.
Okay. It's a little confusing. Right now, you do need to be running both. They're not canceling each other out. There are a lot of features still in Grow Social Pro. If you're using the paid version of Grow for all your social sharing plugin, it's a little bit different. So don't cancel your Grow Social Pro subscription right now. That's not, but we will tell you when it is. We're not going to have you doing something redundantly. Okay. Sarah Arswold, did you once say there was a way to use Grow.me to grow our email list? Love that, Sarah.
Yeah, so Grow is going to be really big about, again, engaging with your users and getting them to come back. And one of the best ways to do that is through email. There are obviously other ways, push notifications, ways of having them follow you on social. You have a lot of ways to communicate with your readers, but people love email at the end of the day because it's the audience you own. You're not subject to the algorithm changes of whatever Mark Zuckerberg wants to do that day to you. It is time to own your audience. And so that's what we want you to be able to do. So eventually, yeah, absolutely. You can expect the ability to message your readers through Grow.
Guys, we shared it a couple times, but if you want to see what your readers will see when they start logging in and doing all of those things, we're putting the landing page for readers in there. It talks about what we have now and then what we have planned moving forward. So click on it in there, see what your readers are going to see, and then give us feedback about what you think they'd like to see moving forward. Eric, where's a good place for them to send feedback if they have it? For us on feature sets or the landing page?
So since you guys are Mediavine publishers, you can always just email publishers@mediavine.com for the people running the beta. We'll find a way to get it to the right place, or grow@mediavine.com is kind of the more official email address to use for this, but it doesn't matter. You'll find us.
Susie Q says, can the login with the button be combined with the login to a WordPress page?
So there's going to be ways in the future, because again, I keep using this word framework, to tie more natively into your site. For example, we have ways of tying into your search box right now in WordPress. So eventually we could tie in. Some WordPress sites obviously use logins for their readers. A ton of them turn that off for security reasons. But if you are someone that runs it, that's something we could definitely look into integrating with in the future.
Okay. Kimberly Vargo said, those who are figuring out how to use Grow.me, she says, go to Google Analytics, behavior, events, then Grow.me to see how it's being used on your site. If you need to screenshot that, go up and take a look at it. People are saying, I'm surprised to see a lot of people are looking at it, using it. Tara Moore says the design is very self-explanatory and it looks very nice. Greg Earnhardt says, I'm beta testing so far so good for not much usage from our readers. Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's going to depend on the site. Obviously, some people will see more. And again, as we keep saying, this is the start. We're going to be building more ways to encourage them.
Okay. So we also had a question, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more later, but how is Grow.me going to integrate with Trellis? Is it seamless?
Yeah, no, like every other kind of plugin or feature we offer here, Trellis will be optimized for Grow, and all those things I mentioned before about having things like tying into the search bar. We want to make a lot of that stuff just automatic and easy if you're running Trellis. No need to even customize anything. Let's just have it work out of the box.
I love it when things do that. Kimberly Vargo says, I've had it since July and I like it, Grow.me. The search function is great and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It also blends in nicely. Love that. Andy Denard, I'm sorry, Andy. God. So far, Grow is great. People seem to love clicking the heart. I'd love to see Grow eventually incorporate membership elements like Patreon or memberful support to offer super readers the chance to give financial support. That's an interesting feedback request. Okay, so Eric, let's just go back a little bit and talk about what is a beta. We've been saying beta like we should all, but maybe we should clarify.
That is a good point. So the whole point of this beta is that everything is not what you would call production ready. In the way that Gmail, I'm sure a lot of you remember at Google, was in beta for, I don't even know, like 10 years or something. That's because it didn't necessarily meet the standards of what Google thought of it for being, this is ready or in production. And that's kind of how we're looking at Grow. Normally, we like to release things when they're a little more mature. But this time around, we decided, let's just make this thing a big beta so we could get all of the input. The entire idea of Grow is we need this to cater to your readers. Who knows your readers better than you? And that's why we want to make this an open dialogue. Send us feedback. What's working? What's not working? And yes, there may be a couple bugs along the way. That is pretty common in a beta, but it allows us to move a lot faster. Let's get the search feature out in the next couple of weeks rather than spending months in QA and trying to solve everything. So this is about rapid releases. That's what you're going to see with Grow.me. You're going to see features just happening all the time. It's going to be fun, but it also means, yeah, you're going to have to occasionally email in to say, this is wonky on my site.
It broke. Okay. We've got people saying that some people are saying they've seen their bounce rate go down. Luke Ward wants to know, would enabling it now be beneficial for the first-party cookies, or will it only be useful in 2022 when the third ones have been murdered?
So good news. Again, Safari already murdered third-party cookies a while ago.
Cool.
So we already have a test audience to see how this does on. So yeah, it'll start improving your Safari users today. And a lot of people actually like buying against first-party data today, even in Chrome, because it's a lot of times more reliable. What do you want to trust? A third-party cookie that somebody dropped as you were browsing across the web, or us saying, hey, this user has authenticated and this is who they are. So a lot of buyers are actually going to prefer buying on this first-party data today. And the longer you have this running, the more readers you're going to have that have already signed in to Grow on your site. So in 1.5 years, do you want to start from zero, or do you want to have a running start? And that's the reason why we're releasing this product so early on relative to the rest of the industry. That's probably going to wait till the 11th hour to solve this.
Anna says, do we get access to the email addresses that people submit through Grow.me?
It's a great question. So one of the things we're trying to do is this privacy-centric model where email addresses are not shared with the publishers or shared with the browser in any way. We want to keep this stuff as secure as possible. We're really building this with data security and privacy in mind. And the reason why we're doing that is we want to instill trust in your readers. We don't want to violate that privacy, or we're no better than the third-party cookie we're attempting to replace. So no, you won't necessarily get access to their email address, but you will have ways of messaging them. That much we can promise you, and it will not be subject to the Zuckerberg algorithm. You'll be able to message your readers.
Fantastic. Okay, Patricia says, is it possible to remove Grow.me on specific pages?
You're gonna have to email in. I'm sure we have a way of doing that. I just don't know offhand.
Okay. Carrie Fernandez says, is there a way we'll be able to see how many users have signed up or used Grow.me?
So right now, getting access to the number of readers is going to wait until we have a dashboard, because again, that only lives on Grow.me, and that's on purpose. We want them to log into Grow.me so that we can have basically one sign-on for them. So it doesn't live on your site where they're logging in. They log in, and then it's an auth that comes back to your site. So that's currently not stored as a Google event. So that's going to come to you when we build the dashboard, hopefully soon.
Yeah, we're excited about that dashboard. Okay, Michael Herber says, still the question, what is Google doing about it exactly? They're not losing billions of ad dollars.
Well, I mean, Google will probably not lose billions of ad dollars, but that is why they're proposing, first off, the sandbox. They hope that there will be a lot of adoption there so that people continue to buy through the exchanges. And Google happens to own some properties that a lot of us log into, right? We all log into Gmail. We all log into YouTube. They'll probably be okay. I wouldn't worry about Google. They'll stay in business.
But here's the thing, Michael, like Eric said earlier, Google, like they're standing to lose Chrome as a viable, which is their top property pretty much anywhere. Right.
If they don't have Chrome, then they're completely at the whim of whatever Apple, Firefox, and Microsoft. Now, Microsoft now actually uses Chrome under the hood. But regardless, they'd be at the mercy of whatever Apple wants to do and whoever else takes over that segment. They're not going to lose Chrome. That is too valuable to Google as a company. And Chrome is awesome. I mean, I'm not going to lie, like it pretty much drives all innovation in web browsers. We don't want them to lose Chrome either as users, to make it very clear. They're the reason the web is getting better and faster. Apple may be a great company. We may have a lot of Apple fanboys, myself included, but it doesn't matter. Safari is not the one driving the innovation. So we want Chrome. Google wants Chrome. It'll be good. I hope this means that Chrome stays around for a long time.
Kirsty says, I'm not on WordPress. Will Grow.me be available for other platforms?
Yeah, that's actually one of the coolest things about Grow.me is it will actually work on any site. So similar to our ad technology. You just install one line of JavaScript. Right now, it actually serves through the script wrapper itself. So you just click a button and it's running on your site, whether you're running Blogger, Squarespace, Wix, anything. That's one of the goals of Grow. It wants to be ready for the entire web.
Carrie says, can we customize the search results or at least show the results from newest to oldest? I just enabled and have posts from 2013 showing it before the newer ones.
So right now it's actually powered by Google. So we're using Google. They're pretty good at search in general, right? I'm not trying to be sarcastic. They're very good at search, but they're not the best. Sometimes it's site-specific stuff. So email in. If it's really not great results for your reader, we want to know. We could look at a different provider besides Google. There's other people that have search engines. There's other ways to probably build this.
Michelle says, I had no idea there was a search function. I love that it defaults to your top visited posts when you open the search. Okay. Lizzie says, is there a negative impact on traffic if we get rid of Slickstream now and switch to Grow, or should we wait until there is hopefully an option to, oh, I'm sorry, Lizzie, I missed that. She wants to import her existing favorites from Slickstream to Grow.
There's no way at this point, I think, to get an export from Slickstream, but we'd love to work with them on a way to do that so that people can come over, or again, to be able to use the two together. We'd love that in the future. That's not something that's available today.
Kelly says, and this is exactly why I've turned it on now. I don't want to be behind the 8 ball later. Very, very fair thought. Okay. Nagara says, wait, so they need to log into this and then also sign up for our email list. Can't they be in the same invite?
Yeah, no, they can be. I mean, that's the whole idea. Like, we're going to make it so that people can follow you and subscribe to you via Grow. So you don't necessarily even need to collect their email address. They'll already hopefully be logged in the Grow. They click a follow button in the way you do on Facebook or Twitter. We want to make it super easy for people to follow and subscribe to new publishers. So you shouldn't have to run both in the future is the idea.
Okay. Nagara says, can we keep our current search and have all the other features of Grow?
Yeah, it doesn't actually force you to replace the native search. That's just an option. And in fact, right now, it's not even very easy to do. You have to email in to Grow at Mediavine or publishers at Mediavine. We have to configure it for you. So it's not going to happen just out the gate. And a lot of these features are going to be things you can opt into or opt out of over time. So right now, it's just going to be a little search button down there. If they click that, it will use the Grow search. But in the future, that might be something you can opt out of.
And part of the really good thing about Grow.me, what it will eventually be, is in a way, it's a way to expose your readers to new content. But that's only an advantage. It's a gimme. It's a gift for a reader why they would want to sign in, because it's a feature that will help them learn different people who they might love, new publishers. Right. Brenda Thompson says, to clarify, if they sign up to follow my site via Grow.me, the email list is stored by Mediavine, or we download those emails to add to our weekly email list?
No, they would be stored in Grow.me. We made a conscious decision, again, to not share the personal information of readers. Even though we know we're saying it's you collecting first-party data, at the end of the day, again, we have to instill that trust in a user that they clicked follow, and they clicked follow, not necessarily, or subscribe. They didn't necessarily give you the email address. And the reason why we're being so careful of that is because all it takes is one bad actor to really ruin the reputation of Grow.me's ability to send emails, and really just Grow.me in general. If there's one person harvesting emails and selling them to spammers, it's going to lose everyone's faith in what Grow.me is. And it has to be a solution to third-party cookies. It can't be the same set of problems.
This is a great question from Sheila. Sheila says, does Grow.me benefit larger publishers more than smaller publishers? Does the number of people a site has logging in affect ad income?
I think Grow.me is going to mostly impact people that have, or is going to best impact people that have loyal followers. And that can happen at any size. I've seen small bloggers that have the most passionate of fan bases. We've seen large ones. It's going to be about who gets the most people to log in. And then it's just going to work the way any other programmatic ads would. Yes, sometimes large sites will do better with programmatic ads just because people have learned and trusted that domain more. Maybe it's been whitelisted more, but no, it won't directly benefit a large blogger better than it would a small blogger.
For anyone who has any questions about, or comments or bugs or feature suggestions, email grow@mediavine.com. So readers will know the difference between signing up for our newsletter and Grow.me. That's Amy's question.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be very obvious. I think that they didn't give an email address. It'll be shown that either if they're logged in the Grow, it'll be one button and they'll recognize it as a Grow follow button, or they're going to be prompted to log in to Grow. There'll be different experiences in just providing an email address.
Sylvia says, so how will we be able to send newsletters?
That will be through Grow. Grow will allow you to be able to send out messages or newsletters to your readers.
People are asking if it's GDPR. Is this somehow connected to GDPR, EU, all of that stuff? Is that possible?
So it's the same concept behind GDPR, right? We want to make sure that the data is secure and the user's privacy is protected, and they're consenting and opting in, and they explicitly know what they're doing. That's the whole idea behind this and why we're being so particular with the way. I know the emails might seem like a sticking point. Again, you won't even have to use that feature of Grow if you don't want. If you want to maintain your own newsletter separate outside of Grow, it's certainly a thing you can do. Obviously, we're not, same way we do with most other things here at Mediavine, we're not forcing you into this.
No. Okay. And then Michelle said, so we'll be able to send emails to these users who sign up, or is it a notification that's generated like an RSS? The answer is yes, right? Eventually you'll be able to do both.
Both, yeah. I mean, there's going to be all sorts of ways to communicate with readers. That's the goal of this. We'll reach the reader in the way that they most want to be reached, and you'll be able to reach them probably the way you want to be able to reach them. You will be able to get them back to your website. That is the goal.
So to clarify, they will have access to these email addresses, or they shouldn't?
You will not have access to the email address. You'll have access to your users. You will be able to send notifications, emails, broadcasts, whatever the term is that you're used to, newsletters to your readers. You will be able to.
But you're doing that through Grow. You're not going to take their email addresses and import them into your own list.
Right. You're not exporting this and using ConvertKit to send the email because that would involve. No, because that would involve sharing an email. And again, once you get it into ConvertKit, you could export them and they could be sold to a spammer. I'm not accusing any of our publishers of doing this, but remember, the idea of Grow is it's going to expand beyond just our publishers. The best footprint we can get is as much of the web as possible. So a lot of these decisions we're making is to make sure that everyone and their readers are protected.
And the other reason why we're adding things like email and adding all of these different things that we're adding in these other features, those are added bonuses for you and for your reader. Right. This is not designed, like we're not trying to put ConvertKit out of business. We're not trying to put MailChimp out of business. We're adding these features in so that we can hopefully keep some of that ad revenue coming our way with these features. Like it's not meant to be like we're adding the features to make it more enticing. We want your readers to opt in. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay. These feedback again with all of the different things, please post. Let's talk about Trellis really quick. Eric, do you have like 2 minutes to talk about Trellis?
Yeah, you have at least a minute, maybe 2.
Go fast. You're going to be like the Micro Machine guy. Okay. We had some people talking about how we didn't even get to talk about the Grow.me buttons and the customizations that are coming there, but they are coming. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. To be very clear, again, I'll just keep saying it. What you see today in Grow is not what Grow will look like in 6 months or a year and a half. You have a lot of stuff coming, a lot of customizations, a lot of cool features.
It's coming. And again, keep sharing that feedback. That's what we want to do. That's what we're here to do, is build this so that you do want to use it and your readers want to use it. Mm-hmm. Okay. We already talked about that. We already talked about those. Let's shift gears quickly. Let's talk about Trellis. Open beta is almost here. What's going to be available when the open beta goes live, and what can you tell us about all of that? Just give us a quick update, please.
Yeah. So open beta is still on track to be the end of this month. We just basically sent out our last round of invites, which is testing the idea of people installing Trellis themselves. So this is like simulating what things will look like at the end of the month. So that's going out right now. And then after that, it's just going to be open. We're going to be sending out, hey, everyone who signed up for this beta, here's a link. Here's how you go and install it. If you need our help, you can sign up for what we call our white glove service.
What is white glove service? Tell us a little bit about moving this forward and how it's going to work.
Yeah, so white glove service, the idea being you will pay, I think the amount to still we'll officially announce it soon. It's going to be very reasonable, but you'll basically pay to have us install Trellis on your site, help you do light customizations for it, figure out how to use it, and work with you on making sure your plugins either work with it or figure out which plugins are basically slowing down your site. You can think of it as a free speed audit that when you're done, you can have that 90 plus that you want in page speed insights if you pay for that white glove service. If not, I mean, it should be easy enough to install. We've had plenty of people. And like I said, this latest round, we're going to have a ton of people installing it on themselves.
How many people are out there using Trellis? Give us a thing in the comments. And how many people are currently using it? And how many people are we fixing to let use it?
Oh, am I supposed to know these numbers?
I don't know. Do you know how many are currently on it? People are saying, is there a price range, Denise? Eric just said, we'll be giving that to you soon. We'll have those numbers out.
Yeah.
Right now it's still in beta, so it's nothing. It's free.
Right. The people that will be receiving those emails are going to know. I think even this next round is going to know. It's very comparable, I think, to what other themes charge. Plus, when you add in the cost of things like the fact that Trellis does your image optimization for you, it does your critical CSS, so it takes care of a lot of the stuff. You're using a handful of plugins that charge you yearly fees or per image fees. That's all going to be included. So I don't think anyone's going to get sticker shock necessarily from Trellis. It's pretty reasonably priced. And again, the white glove service, again, when you consider it includes a speed audit, you're gonna be like, how is this company doing this? But again, our goal is to get Trellis on as many sites as possible, because every person who has installed it so far has either seen an increase in traffic or an increase in ad revenue. And as you guys know, I mean, that's how we and you make money. So we would love to get this running on as many sites. And I know we have this, it's something like 100 sites, I want to say, are running it right now today. And the invite should be going out to, well, the thousands that signed up for the beta. So the number should be pretty impressive, I think.
There are so many comments that we're getting now that people love it. Just going back to the email newsletter, we're not saying that your newsletters are going to go away or that you should keep. That's not what we're saying. This is a feature that we're adding that you're going to be able to do, like an RSS feed or something more advanced eventually. It's a feature we're tinkering with. We're not saying that you should stop collecting your email list or stop. That's
right.
not, please clarify that.
Okay, we are not here to replace whatever your opt-in monster, whatever you're using to collect email addresses today. We're not here to replace the newsletter, especially people that have an entire business that are run off of running their newsletters and have really cool automations and all this stuff set up. That's not our goal. Our goal is to make it for publishers that want an easy way for their readers to follow them, to be able to message them, who don't want to go through all that and want to use that as another avenue to get their users to authenticate. You can think of it as value add. And yes, there's a chance if you are running both, you might have two ways to reach your readers if you want to have the follow and the subscribe features on your site. You don't have to opt into those again, but if you want to run both, there is a chance that you will probably be sending messages or feeds or whatever it may be to both.
Yes. So it may be redundant, guys. We don't know the answer, and we're just looking for a way to mitigate this change so that you'll be able to retain, we'll all be able to retain some ad revenue. This is why we're doing this. We're not, this isn't something we wanted to start out with 2020. Thanks, Google. This is just what we're doing. Nicole is answering. That's great. She was saying, what is the appeal? She's saying the appeal is generating first-party data, which is going to be essential to effective monetization once third-party cookies die. It also is a good experience for the reader to collect their favorites. There are a lot of features that are user-centric coming as well, but the main one for content creators is to be able to continue to identify users so that advertisers can target them properly, which is why programmatic advertising earns so well. Larissa is saying, I don't think anyone thinks you're getting rid of newsletters. I think we are trying to figure out how to get people to sign up for newsletters and grow because people are going to be confused. Fair.
No, 100%. I think it's going to make more sense once we start to reveal these features. I think teasing this stuff is almost a mistake. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse people. Just know that a lot of cool stuff is coming, and it will be, I think, a lot more obvious. Like when they favorite something, getting an opportunity to follow you. And a lot of that stuff is going to be automated. They're just going to get new emails about your content without you even having to do anything. We just want to get you more traffic and get you more users to your site that are logged in. That is the goal of Grow. There's nothing malicious. We're not trying to steal your newsletter from you or undo a newsletter. We're just trying to figure out the best way for you to be able to reach your readers and have them come back.
And we agree. We've preached this. I've preached it a billion times that your email newsletter is what you own. Like I've said that. We understand that this is a lot. We're just looking for different ways to make this work. The appeal is the reason why we're doing it all is to continue earning with programmatic advertising. Okay, so we're back to Trellis. People are asking, what is Trellis? Can we share some of the what is Trellis stuff? And is the beta still accepting signups, Eric, or are we done with that?
I don't think we've closed it yet. So if you want to get that first round of invites as it starts to go out into open beta, I would still sign up. Just mediavine.com/beta should still link you there.
Okay, we will share our what is Grow.me because Chris asked, is Trellis a theme like a child theme that we're familiar with? Eric, what is Trellis?
Trellis is a theme framework, so most similar to something like a Genesis. And then you will install child themes similar to Genesis that will control the look and feel of your site. So Trellis is about building things with speed. And so it kind of creates a framework for designers to be able to build themes that are super fast. If you go to www.mediavine.com, you will see we built our corporate site on Trellis lightning fast, especially given how image heavy it is. It's a beautiful site, but it was definitely designed by a marketing or a brand team and not necessarily a speed person like me, but that's fine. We were able to make it work on Trellis, and that's the idea. Let's give a framework to designers to build child themes on. In addition to that, Mediavine will be releasing, I believe, 3 child themes hopefully soon. We have 1 live today, Bamboo, and 2 more coming very shortly.
Here come all the things, guys. We're dropping in what Trellis is, what the beta is. We're going to have a blog post coming soon that is how to get your site ready for Trellis. For those of you out there that are interested, it's coming from our head engineer on that project. And then, yes, we have our new website, which is exciting. People are signing up, still waiting. Yes, guys, we know. It's not that you haven't been chosen. If you have not gotten in, there's still a chance. It's a good chance, actually, that it'll happen really, really, really soon. So that's exciting. Okay. Eric, anything to add before we sign off? 7 minutes late?
No, just that please sign up for Grow.me and give feedback. Remember, it's a beta. That's why we're doing this, again, early, to get your feedback. Not everything we've even said today is necessarily set in stone, but if you go to www.grow.me, you can see teasers for the stuff that we're talking about coming, stuff that we've alluded to here. But all of this stuff is very flexible, and it's going to be guided based upon your input.
Absolutely. And sharing that feedback at grow@mediavine.com with grow.me in the subject line, so we can get that information passed to the people who need it, so we can sort out those bugs and keep moving forward. If you have questions, we need you to find them. We need you to find the bugs and give the feedback. Alrighty, guys, questions with Trellis. We're going to sign off because it's been a while, but questions with Trellis, email in. Where should they send their Trellis questions?
Trellis@mediavine.com would be the best place to go. But again, if you're a publisher and you just email publishers, it's fine. We can get them to the right place. So don't stress. Use that intercom widget. However you normally reach us, you'll be able to reach us.
You can, just click the chat bubble. We'll get it to the right spot. Sylvia said, is Trellis beta just for Mediavine blogs? If I have a second blog not in Mediavine, can I apply?
So much like we've been saying with Grow, like the goal of Trellis is also to improve as much of the web as we can. So yes, it will be available to non-Mediavine publishers. Right now, the plan is that same cost that we were talking about, a low cost. Might be a little cost prohibitive on a brand new blog that's not monetizing. And you will need to pay per site because it is an API-based thing. So you're actually using our server to generate critical CSS, generate these new images for you. So there will be a fee associated with it, but you'll be able to use it on your non-Mediavine site.
When are child themes being released? That was another question we just had.
So again, we have 1 live today. I know 2 of them are in what we call QA. So they're basically being tested internally by our team before we release them. And they're very cool. One of them I know one of our designers, Susanna, is even a fan of, and she's a very hard one to please when it comes to. Yeah, exactly. And she loves it, right? And she was actually holding out in Trellis until that theme comes out, and that one is coming out very soon. We've seen it; it looks great. We're just making the polishing tweaks.
And we're working with external designers to build some of these themes, correct, Eric?
Yeah, and we're working with a couple right now who are working on custom sites for people, which again, like Mediavine.com. And I think once Trellis is more open and not this beta, you're going to start seeing other designers able to work on themes for it. Right now, obviously, it's been a little tough. The market is 100 people. Nobody wants to build a child theme for 100 people. But obviously, it's going to grow as this thing is finally released.
Yes, it's coming. It's coming, and we're really excited about it. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ben, for answering Christina. It's been a crazy live. Guys, this has been wild. We're going to have Eric on again really soon because obviously there's a lot happening when we don't talk in a few weeks. For those that want to talk not about Grow.me and about other things, next Thursday, September 24th, is our next episode of Teal Talk. I have LaShawn Wiltz, the lovely LaShawn Wiltz on. She is going to talk about navigating the new Instagram. We're going to talk Reels. We're going to talk about all those new things that are out there that we want you to be taking advantage of. She's an expert. Her morning coffee stories give me life every day. It's like ASMR, and I am obsessed with it. And we've got a lot of other really awesome episodes. Guys, don't miss anything. We had quite a bit of confusion with this episode with whether or not people would catch the replay. It's always available. It's never not available. If you've liked Mediavine on Facebook, you're going to get notifications about it. RSVP to it, and the replay is available always. We never take it down. There's no paywall. And then we'll put it on YouTube, our YouTube channel. So you should also subscribe. And then We'll also put a blog post together that's a transcript of it. So we're hitting you on all. It's always available. We're not trying to hide this information. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go frolic in the lake. Thank you for coming, Eric.
Enjoy nature. Bye, guys.
Bye.